What's good, everybody? Fabled here, and today's story time is about me having a felony amount of drugs on me at school, skipping school, and then getting searched by security with a knife in my waistband. This one's a banger, so let's get right into the story. This takes place during my freshman year of high school, a time where the only objectives were to make money and spend that money on various forms of weed. And this day was no different. I stayed up all night making pre-rolls to sell at school, then smoked on my own supply before I got on the bus. The day started off normal. Then in my third period, me and two of my homies decided to skip class and go across the street to smoke. The plan was to skip fourth period and lunch, then come back in time for fifth. So we went off, walking straight through the front entrance with no security in sight and across the street behind Walmart, where we sparked three of our little pre-rolls. Now we faced these joints no problem. Cars drove past but didn't stop or look too hard. No school or normal cops in sight, and it was a calm day in the desert. As usual though, the weed had me a little paranoid. It might have been some mid that was half stems, but that shit smacked to my 14-year-old self so hard that I was now tripping about getting searched when we got back. I didn't know if it was spidey senses or just nigga senses, but I decided to put my Crown Royal bag full of weed and dispos into the clothing donation bin at my school. And maybe a homeless person could have found it while looking for a little Carhartt jacket, but I wasn't trying to get packed up, and I'd rather a tweaker found my weed and enjoy it than a cop have my weed and put it in an evidence bag. So we walked back to school and find out that not only was lunch over, but it was halfway through fifth period. And normally I would have just skipped fifth at that point, but I had a homie in that class and we had a sub the entire year since our teacher was sick or something. But which I wouldn't wish on anyone, but it did work out good since that sub really didn't give a fuck. So I say bye to the homies as they go to their fist, pull up to my algebra class where the sub said she would mark me present, and that security had come in earlier to look for me, but I was in class at the time. And I knew they would see me get marked present then come back again, but I did still have my dispo on me, my personal one, so I gave that to the homie and wasn't even worried because I knew I had nothing on me. Sure enough, about 5 minutes later, the security opens the door and says I need to go with him. I stand up, grab my bag, and that's when I felt the knife clipped to my waistband. Now when these motherfuckers search you, they go all in, and I realized there'd be no way they didn't find the knife where that was. So as we walked down the hall, I kind of put my shirt down over my pants, then unclip the knife and let that shit just fall into my drawers. The security guard didn't really notice. We walked into the office and I just prayed the knife wouldn't fall down my leg. They go through the bag, only find money, pat me down, didn't find shit, and finally metal detect me where the knife beeps, but I said it was just my belt, and surprisingly they didn't make me take it off. After all that, I finally found why they came to my class the first time, and it wasn't because I was skipping, it's because someone had made a report saying I was selling weed pens on campus. They said it was an anonymous and that they didn't have proof, but it looked suspicious that I had all that cash on me. Now, your boy been a D1 storyteller, D1 capper, D1 out of getting situations like this since 8th grade, and this one was no different. I go on to tell the story of how I resell shoes, had sold a pair at school, and even brought up a shoe reselling Insta account that I was logged into. And not only did I just show them the account, I was wearing shoes that were posted on the account at that very moment, and the story was airtight. Now, this was the first time I'd ever been called up to the office at this school my freshman year for something I was accused of doing. They never had caught me smoking or having anything on me, and for all I knew, I was telling the truth. So the dean believes me for the most part, just confused on someone would say I was selling drugs, and she kind of knew something wasn't adding up. But she just told me not to do school again, sends me right back to class. I go through the rest of the day fine, and would like to say lived happily ever after. Then very next week is when both my fight videos took place, and then the incident that got me expelled. So moral of the story, trust your nigga senses, don't be ashamed to school, because they can get you at any time. And always stay smooth with it. This was Fabled though, like and subscribe if you fucked with the video, and I'll see y'all in the next one.
Talked on my name, brought this truck in the fall. Planning out a mission, got Taz on the call. Boy wanna snitch, so I robbed him in the hall. Ain't give no fucks, Fable really about it all.